What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's video. We're going to be looking at the full before and after of my 1992 Sea Ray 380 Sunsport, all the way from the first day we picked it up down at the Lake of the Ozarks to where it stands today, and the cost analysis of what we've got into this boat through the entire process of restoring it. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys tuning in, like and subscribe. Let's get this going. As you see it today, there's nearly 3 years of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this restoration project. Looking back to when we pulled it out, all of the hull stains, the chalkiness, mold, mildew, cracked fiberglass, some wet spots in the bow pulpit, interior upholstery completely destroyed, and then a mess down below in the cabin. And then not to mention, no starting of any engines, generator, both engines, C stern drive, bad couplers. I've even replaced a stern drive, rebuilt the other one, redone all sorts of electrical wiring in the boat. Here's where it sits today. I will say, for the record, we were thinking about, after we did all the sanding and cleaning up of the hull sides after power washing the whole boat, we were considering wrapping it. And in hindsight, I wish we would have done that, because I tried my hand at painting the boat, and you know what? It looks good. It's got a good boot stripe, good bottom paint, very nice bottom job. The bottom paint on this boat, I sanded the whole thing down and made sure it had a proper bottom for the Chesapeake Bay. But as far as the hull side paint goes and the deck paint, leaves a little bit something to be desired. I've never done anything like that before. It looks good, you know, it's about a 10-footer. You get closer to that, you see some of the imperfections and whatnot. So maybe the next owner, I recommend painting it or wrapping it, but you know what? This looks way better than it did when we first got it. So I think it's important, first off, what the heck did we pay for the boat? If you look back at the first video, you'll see $15,000 yacht restoration, or Iowa Min buy $15,000 yacht. That's what we paid. I paid 10, Phil paid 5. So we picked this boat up plus a free boat trailer. Basically, the trailer came with the boat. It was this piece of junk, wishbone style, Dexter bolt-on hub to wheel hub axles, basically throwaway motorhome axles that we had a ton of problems with. We had to get rid of it. Anyway, bought the boat and that trailer for 15 grand, and you can have your opinion on that. I thought it was reasonable. If you start to calculate what actually, what assets on the boat, like let's just say the boat is no good. We paid 15 grand for it. It's a complete flop. You know, what do we have value into it? What I actually considered to have value: the 2 engines, the stern drives, the transom housings, and then generator, upholstery in the interior. I mean, there was a lot of stuff and systems on the boat that were worth some money, and ultimately, if we needed to part the boat out, we probably could have gotten our $15,000 back out of it. Fortunately for us, that wasn't the case, and we were able to get motors fired up and drives turning and gears not seizing up and busting. Well, not off the get-go, but you get where I'm going here. $15,000 seemed to be a fair purchase price. And then, you know, you have to think, if both engines run, let's just ballpark, for a used 7.4 liter 454 big block, fuel injected, perfectly running and driving with all of the wiring harnesses and cables that go to it, I mean, that's 10 grand. Multiply that by 2, there's 20 grand. There you go. You know, even if we sold those for half of their value, there's 10 grand in engines in the boat, plus housings for the stern drives, plus the stern drives themselves, which all turned over, which all were functional, not to mention their Bravo 3 Mercruiser stern drives. You know, there's your 15 grand. So boat aside, we had that value in propulsion systems on the boat, which is a plus. So that said, we had that dog wishbone of a trailer where we blew wheel hub bearings right and left, blew tires, we're on the side of the road more than we were on the road. I mean, that stuff literally took years off my life. So because we trailered this boat and it was only in lakes on the weekend, I bit the bullet and I bought my own personal assets. We're going to leave this outside of what the value of the boat is because I've already moved on from the trailer I'm talking about. I went and bought a 45-foot gooseneck triple 6,000-pound axle or 7,000-pound axle boat trailer to haul this boat to all the lakes that we went to. And boy, was that necessary. We put new tires on the trailer. I paid, I think, 8 to 10 grand for the trailer, and then about 12 grand or $1,200 in tires, $1,000 in a new brake controller, and then, you know, greased all the wheel bearings and axles and everything like that. So, you know, I had a significant amount of money into that trailer. I've since sold that trailer. I netted even on it. Everything's all good. But anyway, that was a big investment just to move this boat around and have it out of the water in front of our house for the amount of time that we did. So that boat trailer aside, 15 grand. That's what we started with. Before I get into the boat, I want to start by mentioning this cover. We spent a good 3 or 4 months of our first summer just working with a good friend of ours to sew this industrial, it's actually semi-truck canvas cover rubberized material. I don't know what the thickness is, but it's pretty dang thick, and it has held up 3 summers now, no problem at all, and keeps this massive cockpit completely dry. If it were not for this cover, everything that I've done inside this boat would be absolutely destroyed by the elements, especially with how this boat's laid out. So this cover has been detrimental to keeping this boat clean, dry. I can snap it all on, and then I run a dehumidifier down below, and it keeps the entire boat dry and nice every single time I open this up. I mean, we had blue tarps on the boat, we were pulling upholstery out, we let it sit out in rainstorms and just get absolutely destroyed. So again, if it were not for this cover, which again we spent months making, this boat would be a whole different story. So very, very nice cover, labor of love, very expensive, and 100% custom cover for this boat. That is a 10 to 15 year cover for the cockpit. Also, I want to walk around the deck here. So as you can see, I'm in boots. It's a little cold out, but the first thing people notice when they walk on the deck or the bow of this boat is it's extremely solid. I mean, it is a very solid deck. And I mean, we sanded most of it, cleaned it up, and then put our layer of you know, white top coat paint, semi-gloss top coat paint. Some of it has actually begun to chip away, which is on us. We didn't necessarily prep it properly. Most of it looks okay, but definitely worth touching up. You know, I took both these hatches out, resealed the hatches, made sure no leakage could occur in there, and then a big portion up here. And unfortunately, I discovered this last winter, but my whole anchor, windlass and chain locker here that holds the anchor chain, all chain, 200 feet, electric windlass, was all rotten. So I had to pull all of this out and then literally cut all the nasty rotten wood out down below, and then re-glass and seal this entire bow area. So this has all been recently redone. New foot switches. I pulled the windlass completely out. New floor hatch and access hatch. I pulled the anchor, stainless rode and anchor catcher completely out, re-glassed it, resealed all of this, pulled all of the rub rail off the bow of the boat, and redid that. So that was a huge project in this section, which of course experienced a lot of moisture over the years, so it wasn't a surprise. We fixed it up properly. It's working good now, and it's solid. I mean, this is a rare feature, but you can, I mean, it is a solid piece of the boat. I mean, and considering what it cost to do this stuff, I mean, we're talking $100 gallon of paint to paint the bow. We're talking hours and hours of labor, but we won't account for that. And then new caulk hardware for the hatches, and you know, $100 in foot switches, and then some couple $100 in materials for the bow glass and whatnot. Now, if you can remember, the first thing I did when I walked onto this boat was I came up and over the engine hatch, walked down. There was tons and tons of there was the old like cover, like moldy, nasty, sitting on the floor. Things were broken. There was stuff everywhere. All of the cushions were left out, completely soaked and tattered. And I was just a little in awe because I'd never been on a boat or owned a boat that was of this size, but it was disgusting compared to what you see now. So I walked down into the cabin, and oh my gosh, was it totally different than what you see now. I mean, I don't have a lot of money per se down here in the cabin, well, minus the new upholstery for outside that is removable. I'll talk about that in a second. But I do have a heck of a lot of time. So all of this headliner material, carpeting, the bed, stains from leaks, porthole windows that were leaking, a lot of that stuff has been removed, resealed, replaced to the point where there were no more leaks. And then we went to town using carpet cleaner vacuums, you know, shampooing everything, spraying it down, destaining it, using bleach. I mean, we cleaned and cleaned and cleaned just to get it to look like this. And I mean, I walk down here, it feels clean, it smells good. That's not very common for a 1992 boat. Not to mention, I mean, we have a memory foam mattress up here that's cut for the shape of the bow, and I've got a bedspread on it right now, but we even had a heavy-duty cover made for the memory foam that's custom sewn to the shape of the bed. So, I mean, just little things like that have been done on the boat. I pulled off all the borders on the edge of this. They were junk and really gross, and there were a lot of screws sticking out of them. So what you see is actually residual rust staining from the staples that were used to hold on the upholstery that's on the side of the walls. I can't do anything about the rust stains. If there's a chemical that you think I should use, great. Otherwise, I've scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. I've tried to get it out. Those are just rust stains. Otherwise, you know, I gotta leave them how they are. And you'll see there too, there's some rust staining around where there was a leak in the rub rail. I pulled that whole rub rail section off, resealed it, rebedded all the screws. That leak's gone. But again, you see the leftover rust stains there. Going as far as the head, again, didn't do a whole lot monetarily in here, but there have been hours and hours of cleaning and fixing up the head, so it's a nice place to use the restroom. You know, I've got new LED lights, the blower fan works, my head tank sensor for the level for how full my head tank is. I've got access to the back of all my bow switching and electronics, which I have gone through all of them, all of the breakers, all of the switches. I've removed wiring that isn't relevant anymore, rebedded and sealed the whole dash. A lot of time has gone into making sure things work properly from 1992 and replaced respectively. But I mean, even pulling the head off, making sure the seals are all right for the vacuum flush system. Shower sump works. Rerouting air conditioning ducting to the head that's from the factory. New door seal for our door threshold. Rerouting air conditioning from my AC unit that was pulled off the boat. We put a new AC unit. It was about $800. Another $100 in ducting and materials. New controller for the air conditioning. That all works now. We've left the original fridge, but deep cleaned it, so it's super clean. It's even running right now. The freezer's got some ice in it. I turned it down. Actually, I should dump this out because I let it de-thaw. Original microwave. Hardly used. Clean. Still works. I pulled out that old tube TV that was in this section. Got rid of it. Had dreams that I'd mount a 32-inch LED flat screen TV, which I do have, but never ended up mounting it. I'll leave that to the next owner. We never needed it, so I just left it open. We threw a Keurig in there. You can see the back side of our stereo that we added, so it had Bluetooth and whatnot. A safety kit, binoculars, yada yada. All in all, down here, I mean, lots of time, but money wise, I mean, probably $500 in that cover for the bed. Like I said, air conditioning, $800 for an AC unit that I bought off eBay, plus $100 in ducting. Left all of the tan upholstery that was redone in like the 2000s. It's in perfectly good shape. Pulled all of this up, cleaned it out. You know, the whole bed comes up. There's stuff underneath there. There was an old vacuum system. Pulled all of that out, cleaned it. It's the little things, right? Magnet latches for my hatch latches here. Left the original ones if they still work. New carbon monoxide meter. There was an old one there. Replaced that, safety first. Redid several of my light fixtures. This was a big focal point for me, was getting this clean to where whoever is coming down here to relax feels comfortable and is not a gross space to occupy. Not to mention, got rid of my old nasty fiberglass tables, repurposed a piece of teak. I could have plugged that, I never did, but I repurposed a piece of teak. So I have a cockpit table that can mount on the floor there, or even go all the way up into the deck seating area, the cockpit seating area. Then let me show you here. There is the anchor chain, and then my windlass motor wiring replaced, coring, all the nasty stuff pulled out, new structural coring put in where it was needed. That was a big job, and as you can imagine, working through a small space like that, or a hatch in the deck, is not a lot of fun. So go ahead and pay somebody to do that, and you're talking a big bill. I'm not going to count any of our labor hours into this. This is strictly just cost of what we have into the boat to get it from where it was to where it is today. Panel itself for my AC/DC system looks relatively stock. Remove these two screws, and this actually folds out. And I've replaced quite a few of the breaker switches that are here. So, you know, I've got control to everything as far as my generator start stop, blowers, carbon monoxide monitor, water tank level, waste system, head system, all of this air conditioning switch over from shore to generator, all original, but I've replaced the switches and checked the wiring as needed to make sure this is functioning as it should. So before we get into some of the bigger things that we did, let's talk about hull structure. So This is a 31-year-old boat. How is the hull? Is it dry? Is it wet? Are there structural issues? You know, how can you possibly trust that the hull and structure on a 31-year-old boat is in good shape? So we did take some measures to check all that. When the boat's been out of the water, which it spent its first year and a half with us trailered, we actually tested it with a moisture meter. Everything checked out, sounding hammered, the whole hull bottom, checked strakes, checked transom. We actually rebedded and sealed anything that was mounted through the transom or below the water line. Everything checked out. It's all good. Believe it or not, the boat now sits in the water year-round. It does not have any leaks. I believe some rainwater gets in through the engine vent intakes. Kind of a rudimentary intake system, not nearly as sophisticated as some of the newer boats that actually have a drain at the bottom of the intake. Anyway, some water does get in there and then trickles down into the bilge, and it gets pumped out periodically. But stringers, transom, hull structure, all of that has been checked. It's all solid. We've even pulled both stern drives, stern drive housing, couplers, redid all of our gimbal bearings. Like I said, I even replaced a stern drive. All that is in good shape. Little things like interior pieces, you know, this was all rotten out. We just remade a new one out of some marine plywood, treated it, sealed it. We replaced a few speakers, but nothing fancy. This is just a cheap Amazon speaker, $15. Pull that out, put a new one in, make it nice. Didn't even bother to replace the vinyl here. Just put some new screws in, made sure that panel was sealed. All good. I mean, that kind of stuff I'm not worried about. Repurposed a piece of gloss teak from another boat. Added some new stainless hinges. I mean, this could be cleaned up a little bit. Put a magnet catch latch there. Used to be a mini fridge here. We didn't put one back. Didn't feel the need to. Instead, I installed a fire extinguisher in there. We've got an outlet that we run a few things off of, and then some feeds and drains for our sink. So nothing crazy, but I mean, just never hurts to have a little bit more storage. So in the cockpit here, I mean, I look back to us ripping all of the nasty old upholstery out, cleaning it all, and attempting to reuse it. I mean, it was fine, but looking back at it, it was just really gross. And that was a huge thing for me, is I wanted the whole cockpit power wash and then painted, and then add sea decking to it, because this non-skid is a joke. I mean, you'll eat it on that non-skid as soon as it gets wet. So add some sea decking to it, paint the whole cockpit, and then get all of that nasty old upholstery replaced. And I have to say, having new upholstery done right has got to be one of the biggest improvements and most expensive improvements that have been done on this boat. This all used to be white. I decided to change it up a little bit, give it a little bit of flair, make it a little more modern looking, while keeping with the original aesthetic. So we threw some accents in there: white, gray, tan, nothing that's going to get too hot in the sun. But again, I mean, it turned out incredibly. And we didn't just replace upholstery. We replaced boards. We replaced foam. New stainless steel staples for the whole thing. I had professionals sew up all of this. You know, even looking at the engine hatch here, whole engine hatch, the big panel that these 3 cushions sit on was all rotten. I spent days and days chipping out all of the old rotten wood, replacing hardware, filling it with marine closed-celled foam, resealing all of it, and making this structural again. I mean, that is a big job, and not something to take lightly. Even going as far as the backing for the seats, all of the removable cushions that sit on this big, almost 270 degree, or almost exactly 270 degree wraparound seating area. I've got all those cushions down below, you know, staying nice and dry out of the elements. It is perfect. I mean, when we want to use them, pull them up, put them out. When I don't, put them down below. I know they're safe and sound. Same with the captain's and co-captain's chair. Really nice big captain's chair. I reused all of the hardware and wood and foam from the original ones. It was in okay shape. It dried out. We used some you know, chemical that basically kills anything that'd be growing in it, like mold or spores or anything like that. Rewrapped it all. Turned out great. I've got removable cushion seat backs and seat cushions that again are sitting down below. I can pull those out when need be. This seat's on a slider. You can move it forward and back based on how much room you want at the helm. But again, it is nice having a good, clean seat to sit on. It's comfortable, gives you good visibility out of the helm. I mean, and just look at this seat before and after. I mean, just it really takes it to another level. Even the little accents of sea decking to make it a little nicer to stand on just goes a long way. Quick little note, this hatch was broken. We used some epoxy, cleaned it up, glued it back together. There it is. We didn't replace it, but it's the original hatch. It's glued back together. It's structural. Same with this one. It was in better shape, not broken, but we rebedded it as well. Had our side panels reupholstered, which turned out great. Redid our shelves in there, and I didn't remount my speakers because they're junk, and I'm going to put some new ones. Same with this side. Again, those were all white. I decided to go with gray. I mean, make it a little accent piece. Same for the helm, you know, cushion, which again, I have not affixed this to the helm yet. I need to do that. It's on the list. It's easy enough to do. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Majestic.
Little update. The very first base power wash has been completely completed on the bottom side of the boat. Let's get in the boat. I gotta go pick up some trash inside here. We'll show you. Outside's looking good. Really hope it don't fall. We were able to get the engine hatch open last night, and we had to hook up Billy's truck to jumper cables and prime the cylinders down there with new ATF fluid to get these even actuate. Looks like they bled down a little bit overnight, but check out these bad boys. Twin 454 Mercury MPI mags in this boat with the Bravo 3 outdrives mated to them. But it's nasty down there. I mean, there's just junk everywhere, and that's what I'm gonna go pick up right now. And it's got a generator that allegedly runs, so we gotta get that going too. But yeah, Billy picked up a lot of stuff in here yesterday. I'm gonna go hit it one more time with the vacuum, and then we've got the boat jacked up in front, and I'm gonna let Billy go to town with the power washer and ideally get all of this nasty junk to start draining out the sides of the boat and get out of here. And then after that, he'll move to the engine bay. We'll do a complete wash down in there, then purple power it later, and then do a complete wash down again. So we're moving some of our important stuff that we like to keep so it doesn't get wet. But yeah, like all this junk, that needs to be vacuumed up. A lot of that needs to be picked up. This engine hatch cover has been dripping water for the past 2 days. That's how waterlogged it was. I mean, none of this had a cover on it at all. This was all exposed to the elements for at least 3 years. And this poor cover that was on it is completely ripped up and gone. So we'll get back to it, check in a little while. So the helm is interesting. Probably my biggest thing that I wish I would have done, but I never really got to, and I'll explain why. The helm has looked like this from day one. There have been some improvements, wiring, ignition switches replaced, any breaker or anything like that that didn't work. trim and drive up, down, rebuilding shifters, replaced my steering wheel, replacing my steering cable, redoing wiring to my windlass anchor, so I've got control here, as well as my Helm foot switch controls up at the bow. My big breaker switch cut off, new battery cables going to and from it. I mean, a lot's been done here, but it is still circa 1992, which I'm okay with because I know every switch works, every gauge is functional, and I can trust it. Other than that, you know, the alternative is going to like multifunctional displays that are like chart plotters / engine data. I could do that, but this all works, so I've just let it be. I let it be 1992. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool to operate. It's like operating a piece of machinery, you know, or equipment. It's not like the new modern boats with the joystick or the flashy digital throttles or, you know, touchscreen switches or anything like that. I mean, it feels like you're flying an airplane. I mean, you got your shifters here for each individual engine, and then your throttles for each one. I mean, it's fun. It's not 2023, but I tell you what, it's a good time. You know, and once you realize that it doesn't have to be modern to be fun to operate and drive, you know, I think you'll begin to appreciate what was done here as well. You know, easy add-on, but chart plotter to make things, make navigating the bodies of water easier. That was like, what, $700 to add that without defacing any of the helm. That's just mounted to the dash. So, you know, something simple on that front. My windshield and windows. I mean, this is one of the big pieces of this boat. I mean, this adds to such a cool look that this boat has, including the radar arch that isn't glassed in. It's just straight aluminum arch with our speakers, our makeshift speakers mounted on them, and then the bimini mounted above it. I mean, all of that can be removed. You can get rid of it, but we did it for practicality reasons, and it worked for how we were using the boat. But this windshield, original glass, original frame. I've redone some seals, I've rebedded some hardware, but otherwise I've left it. I mean, you can see scrapes, dings, scratches, tarnishes, yada yada yada, old snaps, new snaps. I mean, it's old. You know, you've got your old struts here supporting it. Those could be polished or even replaced. The old original window vent ram that I got working again. I was going to replace it, but I redid some wiring, and sure enough, she turned on and works. So that seal, that window vent opens up and closes. It actually creates a nice breeze for the boat itself. So, you know, just time and a couple materials into that stuff. I mean, believe it or not, I haven't even replaced, like, this windshield wiper didn't work. We pulled it out. We never redid it because I don't need to see out of this window. These two we left. They actually work. They don't go that fast. They're not too effective, but I tell you what, they're there. They probably could use some new wiper blades. Again, just practicality versus what's actually necessary to fix. It was all consideration when we did this boat. All right, enough about the cockpit. Here's a fast, quick overview of it all. It's a big piece in the aesthetic of this boat. I was hinting at it earlier. No one likes sitting on gross old upholstery, so I really wanted it to be nice, fresh, and give the boat a good look and style. So ultimately, what we have into the cockpit, we repainted everything, so it's got new white paint, semi-gloss paint on the inside, some sea decking, new wood features, new speakers, door, faucet, time materials into gauges, wiring, steering cable, chart plotter. This door, rebuilt the whole door so it slides properly. Seats, even went as far as to replace all my cup holders with stainless steel cup holders versus the old plastic ones. So, end of the day, materials into the upholstery, 11 grand for anything with canvas on it, foam, wood, yada yada yada. We're talking a couple $100 in paint, a couple $100 in sea decking, let's say $100 in caulk, a few $100 in wiring and switches, then various materials as far as stainless steel latches, magnets, faucet, new steering wheel. We'll call that $500 worth of materials. So, you know, a decent investment was made into getting the cockpit and seating arrangement and entertainment aspect of this boat back to where it needed to be. So let's call that, well, I'll flash the number up on the screen, but there you go. Okay, let's move to another big piece of this boat, the engine compartment and the mechanical side as well as the electrical side of this boat, that without it, it'd just be a floating tub on the water. This is a big piece that we knew we had to get right if we wanted this boat to be reliable, and not cost us new engines or new transmissions or anything like that. So let's hop into the engine bay and check that out. So moving to our engines. I mean, when we first got to this boat and opened up the engine compartment, checked everything, this was a score. We did not know what propulsion was going to be in this boat. Originally, this boat was supposed to come with twin 7.4 liter carbureted 454 Mercruiser engines. To our surprise, somebody put new 7.4 liter fuel injected MPI 330 horsepower Mercruisers in it. That comes with the updated belt drive, that comes with an electric fuel pump, comes with electronic fuel injectors, a different air intake, electronic throttle body, I mean, a little ECU, HEI distributor. I mean, it is a really big improvement from the 7.4 liter carbureted big blocks that used to be in this boat. So these were replaced in 2000 and something. The engines themselves are the year 2000 engines. And by my knowledge, I mean, the boat has, the upper gauge is reading 1,365 hours. I know for a fact I have only put about 180 hours on these engines, and from what I was able to scan, these engines have roughly 500 total hours on them since they were built in 2000. So just that alone made this absolutely worth it when we purchased the boat for 15 grand. Fuel injected engines, they're smooth, they run at 3,000 RPM all day long. I hardly ever take them above 3,000 RPM, and not to mention they're paired to 2-to-1 ratio Bravo 3 stern drives. That's the duo prop stern drive that moves this boat along. It's very torquey, it gets out of the hole very easily, stays on plane very well, and cruises at 30 miles an hour all day long. It's fantastic. Originally, this boat came with the carbureted engines and 1.5-to-1 Bravo 1 stern drive. So that's the single prop instead of the duo prop. I really think this is the preferred package right here. Fuel injected engines, with dual prop stern drives on the 2-to-1 ratio. So that was a steal, and a huge surprise to us. Oil changes regularly. I did it at the beginning of the season. Spark plugs, rebuilt every single fuel injector, replaced water pumps, replaced water pump impellers, replaced belts, swapped power steering pumps, flushed manifolds and risers regularly. Spark plugs, probably could do spark plug wires and distributor, hasn't been needed. We've replaced shifter cables as needed, and then, you know, our transom assemblies, new bellows, hoses, bellows, gimbal bearing, greased regularly. I put new bilge lights down here in the bilge. Oh, and then a big piece moving from freshwater operation to the Chesapeake Bay. And a reason why I never had to put closed loop cooling cells on this boat, or I installed engine flush fittings. So Perco engine flush fittings. I can hook a hose up on the outside of the boat, turn it on full bore, and then start my engines. It closes the valve there, feeds the engine complete fresh water at idle, pumps it through the whole engine while it's warm, flushes out all of the brackish or salty water to keep these engines fresh. So, all that aside, look how clean it is down here. I mean, I spent hours and days cleaning and replacing wiring and rerouting things and sealing spots, and screws were put through and then taken away, and rerouting fuel lines. I mean, we even replaced both fuel lines to both engines from our fuel tank because they were kinked and degraded, and they were actually getting sucked down when underway. So, I mean, those things like that. I mean, we're talking real money to get these engines back and running. Not to mention a lot of brand new positive and negative, I think it's 2-gauge or 4-gauge battery wiring. So all of these cables replaced, up to starting solenoids, up to battery switches, up to breakers, including our chargers that maintain our battery. I mean, that's a brand new Victron Centaur 4-bank charger, or 3-bank charger, I believe. I mean, that was probably, I'll have to look back, $600. We probably have $500 in battery cable. I've got 2 really nice AGM large Victron batteries in the boat to start both engines and then maintain the house. I mean, these were over $1,000 a piece. Not to mention, the boat has a generator, which was the first engine that we could actually get running. And believe it or not, I have pretty much never run this thing. I mean, we got it running. I need to add a strainer to it. At the moment, it doesn't have one. So the last thing I need to do this boat, really, before I move on, is add a strainer to the generator and like reroute the hose so it's buttoned back up so the cover goes on properly. But gas, Kohler, 2-cylinder generator. If I wanted to run air conditioning or other things while I'm away, other things mechanically, and in the engine room. I mean, you see here, what's this yellow stuff? Well, that's leftover foam residue from when I literally resealed and redid the whole engine hatch. Got rid of these old nasty hydraulic actuators, put the original, well, actually a newer one that's a little less intrusive, electronic ram that raises and lowers it, which is very nice. New hoses for the bilge pumps. So there's 2 bilge pumps. There's this first primary down low, and then the secondary in case there's a major issue like a big leak. Both those hoses have been replaced. redid and rebuilt both of my stern drive trim pumps, including put new brackets down here. The old brackets were all rusted out. We got new brackets on there. I'm in the process of replacing my Teleflex steering cable that steers the boat, so that'll be brand new and butter. So I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm gonna forget things. So trim pump for my trim tabs that are in the water. So the trim tabs go through the hull right there. Again, like I talked about, redid and resealed all transom fittings to make sure we have no issues with water leakage or the transom getting wet. I mean, we could go through the whole transom. It's about 3 inches thick. It's in good shape. Same with our stringers, and thank God there's so much room down here. I mean, all this is not structural, it's just a shelf, but we've got my hull side. We've got the two troughs that are just filled with foam where the batteries can sit, and some accessories, and then our main stringers. So we got our main stringers there, main stringers down there, little bedpan, anodes. You know, this is a lot of the structure of the boat right here. They even molded in spots for the generator to sit. We got our fuel tank that sits there as well. Original 200-gallon aluminum fuel tank that we cleaned out, and you know, it's been running fresh fuel in it for almost 3 years now. There you can see the residual water. I promise, guys, that is rainwater. It's not from the boat leaking or sinking or anything like that. Rainwater likes to come in through my vents, which this side actually is the blower vent side. I gotta go to the other side. You can see a bit better, but my vents that go out, water drains sideways, it comes right in through those holes and then straight down into the bilge here. So don't mind the loose wiring. That's where my steering cable goes, and those were just tied into it. That'll all get buttoned back up once the new steering cable gets back in. But starboard side here has the brand new 2-to-1 Bravo 3 stern drive that I replaced this summer. That original stern drive gave us problems from the get-go. Its upper blew last summer. I replaced it, and then it sheared a drive coupler. So I finally said, you know what, I don't want to mess with it anymore. Let's get a new stern drive for this side. So $4,100. I bought an SEI stern drive from Stern Drive Engineering in Florida. It's great. I don't know why you'd buy the original ones. I'm not doing a high horsepower application. They've got a great warranty program. The stern drive is tried, true, proven. It's in good shape. So I've got a brand new Generation 2 Bravo 3 stern drive on there from SEI Engineering. Hands down the way to go. If I have to or someone else has to, I'd do the same thing for that side. I tell you what, that stern drive has been the trooper from day one. I can't tell you how often, you know, we limped this boat home on that stern drive so many times, and it never let us down, which is incredible. So it's running, it's been cleaned up, it's been flushed, it's been rebuilt. I replace the gear oil every 20 hours. They're cared for. So, you know, having the new one on this side, that side, performance is great. Haven't noticed a thing. So ultimately, down here, mechanical space-wise, this is a big portion of all of this, but I've probably got a couple $100 each motor in rebuilding fuel injectors, a couple $100 in fuel line, $500 in battery cable, a couple $1,000 in batteries, $600 in a charger, standard filters for fuel and oil, a few $100, water pump impellers, $100, $4,100 for a starboard new stern drive, new gimbal bearings and bellows assembly, $500, hoses, lights, engine flush systems. Say there's $500 there, but I'm going to guess that there is probably $10,000 to $12,000 in parts and cost down here, just in parts, not labor, but cost down here, cleaning up the engines, stern drives. You know, I even went as far as upgrading propellers. So right now it's running 28 twin 28 pitch propellers on both stern drives, as well as added a drive tie bar between the two to stabilize steering. There's the Gen 2, there's the Gen 1. So I mean, there's some money in there too. There's probably, you know, $1,500 in props plus a $200 tie bar, engine flush fittings, some sea decking back here. Yeah, probably 10 to 12 grand on the mechanical side of things. And then we talk about hull paint. This is just Kingston gray hull paint. You know, I need to clean it. Look at that. It's all gross and nasty. I haven't had a chance to clean it out of the water, but you know, a couple $100 in hull paint. And then let's consider we had the Bimini, $250. The overhead speakers, which are all throwaway, replace, but they work. You know, a couple $100 there. And then the professional bottom job that I put on the boat this last winter to make sure that it can sit in the water, and it's a, you know, 3-year bottom paint. Sanded it all down, 2 coats of Interprotect 2000E plus 2 or 3 coats of Trinidad Pro Black. That was like $1,000 in bottom paint, plus my labor. You know, you have a yard do that, 38-foot boat, with the bottom paint, we're talking $4,500 for that bottom job. Again, I had $1,000 in just paint, and I can get that at cost, but then my labor in that, which tells you how expensive labor is. But probably $4,500 bottom job on this boat with new anodes, and you know, the drives painted too with the proper drive metal paint on the aluminum drives and then the steel props. So we're talking real money. So all that said, I've really enjoyed this boat. I have owned this boat for nearly 3 years. It's been wonderful for me. We've had wonderful times aboard. There are probably things that I missed in the before and after to get this boat from when we picked it up in the Lake of the Ozarks to where it is now. And now it's time to sell it. So it's for sale right now. The current listed price is $49,000. I will feel comfortable walking away at that number, knowing all that I have into it and where I'm looking to go next. So, drum roll, here is the final breakdown of everything that we've put into the boat, from purchase price to trailers to selling trailers to all of the materials, and all of the big upgrades we've done. Here's the final cost. I worked my way from a 16-foot Starcraft 40 horsepower outboard boat that I bought with a couple interns at John Deere, I think $150 a piece. Fast forward to 12 boats later, here I am. I have my 38-foot Sea Ray Sunsport that cruises at 30 miles an hour. Burns about 1 gallon per mile and has been a wonderful boat. But with all things and all projects, they must end and a new one must begin. So here she is, the 1992 Sea Ray 380 Sunsport, $49,000. I'll throw the real number at the end, but just to spitball here, let's do $11,000 in upholstery. Let's call the cover, which, I mean, I don't even know how to quantify the cover because we did it. We only paid for materials. So I'll just put materials in there, but there's a lot more in labor. I'll put my materials for bottom paint. Again, a lot more in labor, but just doing materials. Stern drive. Propellers. Tie bar. All the work I talked about in the engine room, which I'm going to say is $12,000. I think I'm low on that. Work that I did up at the bow for the anchor, as well as hull paint for the deck and hull side. We'll call that $1,000. Air conditioning, $800 for the unit, plus a couple hundred in materials and ducting. Oh, and then I'll tell you what, purchase price of the boat, 15 grand. So there you go. I'm sure there's a bit difference in numbers, but $47,800, those are real dollars that have been spent, put into the boat just by me off the top of my head, spitballing what I have into it. You know, I can of course add the, let's see, 10 grand that I had for a trailer, plus fixing up the wishbone trailer, which was like $2,500. And then I sold the gooseneck. And then I sold the wishbone. So there you go, guys. I mean, we're not kidding around here. Boats are expensive. I can tell you what, I would not have this exact boat in the condition it is anywhere for that number. I just wouldn't be able to buy it. And I tell you what, I've enjoyed every moment of this journey, even though it's cost quite a bit of money. So $44,000, let's call it $45,000. It took $45,000 to get the boat that I have here today. Runs, drives, looks cool, turns heads. It is a talking piece. It is a 31-year-old boat. It's everything I could have wanted. It's time to move on though. So 49 grand. That's what I have it listed as. You know, hit me with offers. Clearly, I don't want to lose any money, but you know, I will entertain any offers that are out there. But this is her 1992 Sea Ray 380 Sunsport, end of an era, truly. I mean, this boat built the channel Making Motor Moves, now known as Boat Restoration by Ben. I could not be happier with where this boat has taken me as a boat owner, a boat repairer, a mechanic, a boat restorer. A lot of lessons learned. Probably some money that could have been saved in there, just based on mistakes. But ultimately, it's a really, really fun time. And I appreciate you guys following along through this whole journey. So that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe to the channel, Boat Restoration by Ben, if you guys enjoy this content. This will be the last video on the Sea Ray. Let's get this thing sold, move on to the next boat, and you know, continue to have some fun. All right, guys, take it easy. We will see you in the next video in the new year. All right, peace. case you were curious, this is my winter routine. I come by, check on everything weekly, make sure the dehumidifier is working, the engine room heater, and then I run the engines for a while, get them up to temperature. Let them run at like 1500 RPM, let oil get throughout all the engines. It's just good for them. It's too cold to go for a boat ride, so might as well let them run, because at the end of the day, that's all they want to do is run. All systems a go.